one thing we want to do is kind of come up with this different topic that we can kind of talk through for a little bit, which is, I guess you could call it a game, but not really. Basically, I have 3 different levels here, and I'm going to ask you I'll give my answers too. One thing that you would keep the same, and one thing that you would like to see change within this realm. So the first one is within the PDGA. What is something that you would keep the same that you really like what the PDGA is doing? And if you were in complete charge of the PDGA, what is one thing that you would change?
Right. So as far as what I would keep the same, the thing I like most about the PDGA is how easy it is to run an event. I think like it's super easy to get a tournament up and running, approved, ready to go. It's easy to join them. That is something that I like about the PDGA and something that I would keep. And then what I would change is the rating system. The rating system is quite broken. I don't think it's been updated. I think they've been using the same system for a long time. I mean, have they ever changed it?
No, this is the only rating system. It came during the Climo era.
Yeah.
Is when ratings first started.
I would change the rating system. I don't have like some master genius plan of what I think it should be, but I know there's a lot of flaws to it. And I also think that I think the rating system is so much more relevant to amateur players that I would either make it one of 2 things. Either A, as soon as you're a professional status player, you no longer have a rating, or maybe like it's there, like your rating exists in the system, but like it's not visible, like nobody sees your rating because like it doesn't matter. Or B, once you get above 1,000 rated, you're just an 1,000 rated player.
That's what I would do. So
and like you could even be like 1050, but it just says 1,000, but like you're actually 1050 in the system and you have that many points to lose before you go under 1,000, but like you just see 1,000 plus.
That's what I was going to say. So I think we're too far in to fully switch up the rating system. It'd be very hard to fully switch it to be a course-based rating system instead of a player-based.
I agree.
I think that's where the issue results in is it just depends on the field that shows up that day as to how the ratings are going to go. But I think the ratings would be fine if you got to 1,000 rated and it's 1,000 plus is what your name shows as.
Yeah, there's just no point.
Well, because in golf, pretty much, from what I understand, from what I've heard people talking about golf and handicaps, which people always say, like, why do you keep using that as a reference? Because if you read the rating system, our ratings are literally trying to be our version of golf's handicap system. That's what it was set up for. That's what the creator has talked about it being.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be. So I'm always going to refer to the thing it's supposed to be as a reference point. I never have heard of players talking about being better than a scratch golfer. I know you can.
Yeah.
But once you're that good, it's like, oh, yeah, he's a scratch golfer.
Yeah. You'll never hear like people say like, oh, yeah, he's a +3 handicap, which would be like 3 better than scratch. Like they might.
That'd be like a 1030 rated player.
If you really ask them, like you'd have to like, if you asked about a player who's really good, they would say like, oh, yeah, they're scratch for sure. But like you'd have to like really dig like, well, what is his exact handicap for somebody to actually tell?
Yeah.
And like beyond, like once you're a professional ball golfer, especially a touring one, nobody knows what anybody's handicap is. They don't even have handicaps.
Yeah. Well, that's all I was going to say is like...
You have to get a handicap. You're not just assigned one for playing.
The handicap obviously would exist. Like if Rory McIlroy wanted to go get his handicap, he could.
Right.
And so in golf and disc golf, I think the biggest difference is the amount of emphasis we put on ratings.
Right. It's everything.
Yeah. Like when you talk about a player, like right now, I would say that... you can make an argument for a few different people, but you could put Paul, Ricky, Calvin, Eagle, any one of them is the number one best player in the world.
Right.
We just base it on ratings. So it's like, it's Ricky's the best player in the world.
Right.
Week in and week out, Ricky, yeah, he could win, but then so could Eagle, so could Calvin, so could Paul, so could even Chris Dickerson. Like, there's a lot of players that could fit into that. I think a good world ranking system that's updated throughout the year would be a lot more beneficial.
Right.
Because the issue with ratings too on the professional level is it's based on like your whole year's performance. Like over the last year, every round, if you go play a C tier, whatever, like Paul's rating dropped because he went and played a weekly league with, I don't even think he has full bag.
He had 3 discs.
3 discs, he played a weekly league, and it made him not be the number one rated player in the world.
Right.
Like, so obviously we shouldn't be deciding who's the best player in the world based on ratings, because then it's like, well, you better never play a C tier, a local C tier.
Yeah.
You better never go play that weekly league. No, well, it would make more sense like whenever they're showing up to A tiers, pro tours, national tours, yada yada yada, they're points based, whatever. We have a world ranking system that updates, and then that's what everyone's deciding and not emphasizing. And I think a good way to implement that is you get to 1,000 rated, because 1,000 rated is still a big goal. Like you talk to any player who's like super serious, they want to get to 1,000 rated.
Yeah.
And then just make it 1,000 plus. So you got to 1,000 rated. Let's go. Now you're a scratch golfer. Everyone knows you're good. You're 1,000 plus rated. Boom.
Yeah.
My answers though were different than yours. I do agree with the rating system as being something to change. We've talked about that plenty on the podcast though. But the one thing I would keep the same that I think the PDGA is doing a great job is their current sanctioning system for A, B, and C tiers. Similar to what you said, but I think I like it for a different reason. First off, I like it because it guarantees me as a player to have regional tournaments, and the way it's set up with like the distances between the different tiers, I don't have to worry about like when I'm as a TD running a B tier, there's no competition within the immediate area on that weekend, because the PDGA has set it out to be like, if I'm running a B tier here, there's not going to be a B tier in Bedford, 30 minutes away. That's not happening.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about like super close competition. If it's a C tier, like sure, but C tiers are just like fun tournaments. They're not super serious.
Yeah.
And then an A tier is even more regionalized, and they have to approve them and all that stuff. So I like that because it makes sure they're all evenly spaced and players have tournaments. And it also is big for the TDs to be able to promote their event, because a number of players are just going on searching what's near me this week and finding it, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One thing I would change is for them to give the Pro Tour a little bit more freedom. Because now what do I mean by that? Oh, and big part of it is to dissolve the national tour.
Yeah.
Get rid of the national tour, give the Pro Tour more freedom. This would allow them to, we talked about some last week, but like finding the players, which I don't think you should straight up fine them, but like if you can make offenses finable to add more professionalism to the tour. It would also allow the Pro Tour to have specific rules that apply only to Pro Tour events and stuff like that. And a big thing would be the registration process. With Ledgestone originally wanted to make it the MPO field 950 or above was the only players in it. And the PDGA said no, because their cap is 900. You can do a tiered rating, you can't do that. This would open the door for that as well. So I think giving the Pro Tour a little bit more freedom and allowing them, because that's going to be crucial for tour cards and stuff like that in the future.
Yeah.
Working with them and giving them the full support and getting rid of the national tour. What getting rid of the national tour does, it puts all our eggs in the Pro Tour basket. It also allows the Pro Tour to have scheduling reign.
Yeah.
So basically the Pro Tour doesn't have to schedule around NTs and, play this like fancy game of what's going to be an NT, what's going to be a Pro Tour, yada, yada, yada. All our eggs are in one basket in the Pro Tour. That's kind of what I would change.